What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Highlife Reel. I'm Bill Rom.
Josh Spiro.
And today's headliner is brought to you by Backspin Tee. Backspin Tee is a revolutionary advancement to the standard tee designed to change the way a batter looks and hits the ball. Backspin Tee, turning the game upside down. This week's headliner is Andrew McCutchen gets traded to the San Francisco Giants from the Pirates. What was your first reaction?
I mean, they've been trying to trade McCutchen for a long time. It was just speculation. And the Giants' name has been in there for a little bit this past offseason. I think it's a good fit for McCutchen. It's a good fit for the Giants. The Giants are a team that takes clubhouse guys and guys that are married, guys that have families, guys that are, just those your good ball player kind of, like Longoria, same guy, married, not going out. Like, look at that whole Giants team. Pence, you name them up and down, Crawford. They all have wives. It's just that kind of camaraderie that they've built up, kind of team that they've built as a how they mesh. So I think it helps the Giants. I think McCutchen has a lot left to prove, a lot left in the tank. Is he the same MVP candidate he was 5 years ago? No. But he's also a very good ball player. He's going to, I think he fits very well in San Francisco. I think San Francisco is going for it all again. They're a team that's older now. They're very much over 30. Even Buster Posey and Crawford and Panic's probably the younger guy out of all of them, but the other guys, they're getting up there. Posey's been around the league for a while.
Posey, I feel like he made his debut young, so he's been around for a long time, and he's not as old as his name is. But what's your idea? What do you think is the deal with McCutchen? What do you predict next year for his role, and what do you predict in terms of stat line?
So I think he'll be the starting left fielder. I think they'll leave Pence and right. I think the Giants are going to try to find a center fielder. They're going to try to go after a guy like Billy Hamilton or possibly J.D. Martinez and put McCutchen center if that's the case. I think he'll maybe hit between 260 to 280. 22 home runs, maybe around there. It's it's a different, bigger ballpark. But I think the energy and the swagger he brings back to that team, almost like when they had Pablo Sandoval, he was like that guy with like that cocky swagger, but like he showed it on the field. McCutchen's a little less out there than Panda was, but he's got that swagger. He brings a little youth, a little energy, a little dance moves, all that stuff they did with the Pirates back to the Giants, which I think they need. But I don't think he's going to bat like 310, 320. I think he's going to hit like 260 to 280. But he'll be a very productive player for them.
Do you think he has the same season he had last year, or do you think it's more similar to 2 years ago? Or do you think it's somewhere in the middle?
I think he'll be just where he was about last year. Last year, he had a very good year. He was down in the beginning, came back up second half. I think he'll be around the same thing. I think it's going to be an adjustment period for anybody,
If you think that he's going to be the same player that he was last year, which was a pretty solid baseball player, money aside, you also have just added Longoria.
Yeah.
You have Pence. You have a pretty solid lineup now.
Their lineup's very nice.
And San Fran's always been known for their pitching. And they still have some prospects still left in the pipeline who can make their debuts and impact the game from a pitching perspective. Where do you think that this trade puts San Francisco right now in terms of the National League?
They're in a tough division again because I think both the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are both legitimate teams. I think the Diamondbacks more so than the. I mean, it depends. I think if the Diamondbacks re-sign J.D. Martinez, that helps them out a lot because he helped carry that team. He hit like 40-something home runs in the second. It was ridiculous. I think if J.D. Martinez doesn't sign with the Diamondbacks, I think that actually slots them below the Giants. I still think they're a good team. But with that being said, the Giants still have Bumgarner. They're going to have him. They're going to have Cueto. They're going to have guys like that. Tyler Beatty, who's one of their top prospects, is slotted to be in the fifth slot.
Yep.
And who knows what he could be. He's a potential number 1 or number 2 in the future. But at least he'll be up.
And then Pence, Posey, McCutchen, Longoria,
Crawford, Panic.
That
lineup's good.
My point is, I actually, for me, I see them winning that division.
Over the Dodgers, huh?
I see them winning that division.
I don't see that.
I don't love the Dodgers team. Like, I really don't. I feel like you had a lot of things break right from last year, and they've been good for years now. But you've seen San Francisco do this before. where it looks like Dodgers spend all this money. They look like they have a good team. San Francisco Giants come out of nowhere because they've got solid pitching from top to bottom. Now, if I told you we make it to the playoffs, which team would I rather have? Probably going to tell you I'd rather go with the Dodgers. But if I'm looking at this lineup right now, if I feel like McCutchen's going to have better protection than he's had in recent time.
Yeah.
Posey's going to have better protection than he's had in recent time. Like, who bats third? Posey?
Yeah.
Who bats fourth? Longoria?
Yeah.
Who bats fifth? Hence?
I mean, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing you got to
McCutchen's either one or two?
The only thing you got to understand with the Giants is that their bullpen has been a rough go. This past year was miserable. And that's what the Dodgers have. They have Kenley Jansen. They have other guys in the bullpen who it's shutdown time like the Yankees were this past year. The Giants still didn't really figure that out yet. If Mark Melancon can come around and be the closer he was when he was with other teams, then they're looking better. But their bullpen's still
But I
really
always feel
shaky.
like bullpen is such a year-to-year thing. Like, you don't have consistent return on bullpens from one year to the next. And that's my biggest thing I'd say even about the Dodgers is if you're relying on your bullpen being the reason why you are going to be a dominant team.
Yeah, I mean,
and you didn't go out and trade for a second closer who's a dominating pitcher like the Yankees did when they had two closers on one team and they had an eighth and a ninth inning where, hey, it's over now. You don't have that. And the Yankees have always seemed to like that. They want their setup man and their closer to be great. If you don't have that, if you're not in that area, I feel like pitching can go south for you very quickly, especially in a bullpen. Guy has a bad year. Guy didn't train as hard. Guy didn't do this. He just a couple rough breaks and it ruins his confidence. The starting rotation gets rocked a couple times. That forces the bullpen out early in the season, and they're exhausted at the end of the season. Like, so much of a bullpen, to me, is so dependent upon year-to-year fluctuations, unlike anything else, because you're going in for one inning. But how many innings are you going to pitch? You pitch 80. That means you're pitching every other game.
well, I mean, I think you're right with the Dodgers that a little bit of everything went right for them.
Yeah.
Turner had an insane year. Everyone had a career year, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was the same thing with the Astros. You know, you had Josh Reddick bat 300. When was the last time Josh Reddick batted 300?
Look at the Mets.
Right, like when they had that year.
The Mets go to the World Series.
Baseball is
and
such a fluctuation.
they've dropped 30 games off their pace in a 2-year time span. And it's almost the exact same team. But so many things, variables, alter and change. Now, I'm not going to tell you Daniel Murphy was worth 30 games for the Mets. But that player was a great player that helped them get there, right? They let that guy walk away, and they've been regretting it ever since. And you look at teams, and I just feel like if you're relying upon an area of your team that you can't predict year to year,
It's tough.
I think it's tough. When you look at the Giants, it's why I feel they went out and they got McCutchen and Longoria, is because even if you take the guys' floors, you know that their floor is not going to be an abysmal player.
All I have to say is that if the Giants are in the playoffs, they're a very scary team. Because combine that with all those other guys' experience, with Longoria and McCutchen wanting to win a World Series, watch out.
And that's my point. I feel like this is going to be two motivated former all-star, high caliber players that just got traded in the offseason. Like, your team that you've been on forever just said bye Felicia to you and is walking away, and it's like, all right, cool, be gone.
It's going to be
and now you're in this situation where you got to look at it and say, hey, we can compete if we show up. You know, we're a month away from report dates. Guys better be hyped for what this season could be if you're a Giants guy. Guys, moving on, we have Between the Lines. The Between the Lines this week, we're going to be staying in the NFL pretty much for everything. Vikings play end of the game.
Minneapolis Miracle.
The Minneapolis Miracle. Unreal. I've watched the play a million times. So the poor rookie kid playing safety who played great all year.
Missed him.
So now if you watch the play, and I'm not telling you, hey, it's an excused miss. Now, the kid choked and it was a bad play. It was a horrendous play. But I know you can tell by the way the kid read the play and broke on the play what he was expecting to happen. What he was expecting to happen was when those guys went underneath routes, right? And Diggs goes over the top of those other. His job is to pick up Diggs. Keenum sets, throws the ball. He picks a target where he thinks that Diggs is going to catch the ball without jumping because he's hoping to carry his momentum out of bounds on the step. So he's hoping to hit him so he can't go out of bounds. Diggs jumps early. That's not the way he would typically catch that ball. You would think he'd stretch out, he'd catch that ball sideline, go out of bounds. He jumps, snags that ball, and that guy is jumping for where he expected to time the hit and take him down before he could go out of bounds. So you have tackle, nobody can reset, game's over. Because if he lets him go out of bounds, it's a field goal, you lose the game anyway. Mm-hmm. So he needed to make the play where he kept him in bounds. He tried to predict it, he dropped his head, history, Diggs is going, guys from Minnesota are flipping and freaking out. I know what the kid was thinking. It's rough.
Yeah.
And it's rough for Drew Brees because he had a very good team again, and he's another year older now, and you got to go into an off season, train, prepare, prep, work on your body, and be willing to go out at 5'11", 6 feet tall, and have 6'8", 300-pound men chase you around the field again.
These quarterbacks are starting to get – I don't think we're seeing many years left of any of these guys.
Who's these guys?
I'm talking.
I know
Ben,
who you're talking about.
I'm talking Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben said he's coming back.
I'm talking Breeze.
Breeze, I think, is coming back.
I'm talking Rivers.
Rivers is a very interesting – I could see next year. I could see even this offseason if he really wanted to. I think Phillip Rivers is in his last couple of years. I think he's going to go to the end of his contract, and I don't know what his contract is, but I don't see Rivers playing much longer either. But I hear you, and I agree. I think we're going to see a changing the guard. But it's also why I feel like right now in the NFL, there's too many quarterbacks. And people hear me say that, and they're like, man, there's no quarterbacks.
There's a lot of quarterbacks.
You look at the Vikings. The Vikings are going to have a massive decision to make this offseason. Mm-hmm. You got Bradford, Bridgewater, and you have Keenum, all free agents at the same time. Who do you keep? Keenum's potentially going to be in the Super Bowl. You're going to cut a kid who brought the team all the way to the Super Bowl, look better than either of the other two guys have looked in the past couple of years.
He looked really good this year.
And you're going to take that cat out, and you're going to let him walk. Where he's going to go and he's going to sign a free agent deal. Who needs a quarterback in the NFL right now?
The Jets.
Okay? Say the Jets. Who else?
I mean,
where they have an abysmal quarterback.
Abysmal quarterback?
Because it's tough for me to even look at Blake Bortles.
Nah, I mean, listen, they won with whatever. It's crazy. I'm just saying it's going to be a lot of different – I don't know. It was a good game, a great game. I saw Diggs after his interview, didn't even know what to say. He was speechless. He started, breaking down. He didn't know what to do. I'm happy for the Vikings. Their team this year and in general for the playoffs looked a lot better than it has in years past with different teams. Who wins?
Vikings, Eagles.
I think the Eagles.
Strong. You're going to be in Italy. You're not even going to be able to watch.
No.
Next game on the docket this past weekend, big game, talking about one of the quarterbacks that's potentially leaving. He said he'll be back, is Big Ben. Steelers get smacked by the Jags. And it's not in the way that you would expect. Everybody was like, hey, the Jags defense is amazing. The Jags defense is incredible. The Jags defense let up a lot of points, and Steelers moved the ball at will. Steelers choked.
Yeah.
Choked. I will give credit to the Jags. They're a better team than I gave them credit for. They barely beat the Bills. Scored 10 points, had to go forward on fourth down to score their only touchdown of the game. And they put up 40-plus points in this game. There's almost 90 points scored in this game this past weekend. What do we make of the Jags?
They're a hungry team. They're a team that everyone will doubt, and they'll try to prove you wrong. Unfortunately, I think this is where the road ends. I think the Patriots are the Patriots, and I think they're going to another Super Bowl. And I think the Patriots run over any of these other teams that are actually in their way. I think it's another Patriots Super Bowl win, and that's how it's going to go down.
Why?
There's a difference. It's boys playing with men.
The Jags. So listen, and I don't think the Patriots. Patriots lost a game to the Miami Dolphins where the
yeah.
Dolphins played physical and showed up.
Yeah.
The Dolphins weren't a great team, right?
Yeah.
Dolphins had the backup quarterback
This
playing.
is different, though.
You could say it's different all you want.
It's the Patriots in the playoffs. It's
Hey,
Tom
we said
Brady
the
in
same.
playoffs.
We said the same thing last week when we were talking about the Jags game.
Just watch. It's gonna be the Patriots gonna win the Super Bowl. You can.
And I don't think the Patriots are winning the Super Bowl.
All right, that's fine.
I don't think they're beating any of the NFC teams. The only team I could see them beating
Yeah. Philly?
is if Philly goes.
Okay.
If Philly goes, and it's Foles.
Foles isn't a bad quarterback.
And he's not. But he doesn't have the same continuity that they had. He actually looked great this past weekend.
I'm just saying, no one's beating the Patriots.
Ooh. I don't want to live on that longer. But we're gonna move on this today.
No one's beating the Patriots.
This is for when you get back, guys. Next up, Moments of Greatness. Moments of Greatness is our fan submitted videos. You guys can go to Moments OG on Instagram. Any dope things that you guys do, doesn't matter if you're working out, training, playing a random sport, playing spike ball. If you guys are doing something that's really cool and you want us to fan submit it, put it there. We throw it up every week in our Moments of Greatness. Check these out.
Oh yeah, pull up. Oh yeah.
Oh snap. Oh! Nigga, good time! Oh my God! Woo! Get him out of here! Get him out of here! Hey yo, come on, yo! Come on, yo! Come on, yo! Come on, yo! Yo, you can't fall for that, yo! You can't fall for that, dummy! You can't fall for that, dummy!
Guys, like every week, we end our show with the finisher. This week's finisher, Mike Murlarkey, former head coach, Tennessee Titans, has 2 back-to-back 9-7 seasons, makes the playoffs, beats the Kansas City Chiefs. At the end of the game, everybody's talking about the fact that he might be gone. They lose. He's going to be exiting. Mike Murlarkey's gone. It's up in the air. You hear from the ownership. She says, Mike Murlarkey is going to be our coach next year. Fast forward 1 week, Mike Murlarkey is out as the head coach of Tennessee Titans. What happened?
There's got to be something behind the scenes that we're not hearing of the way the players, maybe, Mariota went up to the office like, this dude is just, I know we're winning, but if we had somebody else, we're winning, like a lot more. I mean, you can't argue with a dude who brought the Titans to 9-7 seasons, won a playoff game. Like, I wouldn't fire that guy, but there's more to the story. There's got to be something more to the story. That's all I can even think about.
I feel like he's looking at the team and he wants to make some changes, and ownership doesn't. One of the rumors that I'm hearing and we've been hearing is that they wanted to get rid of making some changes to his staff. They wanted to implement some new offense. They wanted to implement some new stuff. They didn't feel like they were getting out everything that they should be. And Murlarkey disagreed. Yeah. And then with that disagreement, they couldn't come to terms, and they decided that it was best to part ways.
That's how it is.
I wonder, Tennessee Titans haven't been good in a while.
Do they go back?
And you're 9-7. I think they backtrack.
I agree.
I think that Mariota has had the same coach for 3 seasons now, and he's had an opportunity to work under one guy. And have coaching from one person, learn a set offense, have comfortability in that offense. Then we're missing Chris Davis for most of the year, their first-round pick, who had hammy issues, and that limited their offense. I just look at it, though, and I say that anytime you break up continuity in the NFL, you mess with the growth of players and you mess with the results that show up on the field. There's a reason why, I think, and it goes hand in hand. You look at Marvin Lewis with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's coming back.
Yeah.
But at the end of the year, they look good. They beat a bunch of teams that were borderline playoff teams.
Yeah.
They look like they fixed some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If they come out next year and they're back to being the same Cincinnati Bengals, you were right. Ownership made the right move because the Bengals have been winning teams year after year after year. You have one down year and you're going to axe your coach. Yeah, I get that they haven't won a Super Bowl. They haven't won in the playoffs. But you consistently have had a good team. It's because you've had continuity for a decade plus. And then you look around the rest of the NFL and you're changing things out all the time. You look at the Giants. As much as I think that coach lost that team, you think that team is going to magically get better overnight because they dropped their coach?
I think the NFL more than anybody, more than any sport, is so quick to cut the axe on coaches. Like, it's literally one season. If you don't have a good season, that's it. Baseball,
You're on the hot seat immediately.
Baseball, the Twins were the worst team in baseball. Same, boom, playoff team, 100, almost 100. Like, that's just, I don't know why it is with football. I think it's because I don't know why that is. I don't 100%, but they're so quick to cut an axe on some guy instead of the other sports where it's not like that.
To me, the reason why that is every other sport is checkers.
Yeah.
The NFL is chess.
Okay.
And you can tell if somebody's good or bad at chess quick.
Mm-hmm.
Checkers, you can get lucky, right? There's some parts of it that it's not as complex.
Okay.
When you're playing NBA basketball, you might have some set plays, but if you got LeBron James, you could just not run a single set play the entire game, and he's going to probably win a whole bunch of games.
Yeah.
Right? You go into baseball, what's the coach going to do? Right?
He's a decision maker.
But what's the decision? If my team's hitting home runs and my pitcher's not letting up anything and striking everybody out, what did I have to do? I have to decide when I pull him. Yeah, now that might matter in a one-run game when I pull. But then that means that the manager's more like, hey, don't do anything, let it ride, you might fuck it up. Do something, you might fuck it. But you're not actually impacting result. A result's just, when is my guy tired?
Yeah.
When do I have to play the left-right matchup? Like, that's really what you're having to do. You're managing a game.
Yeah.
An NFL coach has 53 players, is in charge of the development of his players.
Yeah.
You look at Major League Baseball, by the time a guy gets to a manager at the MLB level, you're developed for a lot. There's some tweaking that happens. I'm not coaching you. NFL coach has his practice squad guys are with him. They're having to coach up guys and develop guys in real time. You're having to maintain coaching. And then you have to watch another team's playbook because every single thing is a set play. So you have to balance what choices are we making that week? How are we scripting our first plays? To me, I think the Titans made a mistake. I just also think that the Titans made a mistake because what's the harm of giving Murlarkey a 2-year extension? Letting it keep status quo and seeing what happens. Because if next year he bombs, good. You get a high round draft pick, you're in position to go. But the best case scenario is he wins, you have continuity, and maybe your team wins more than just one playoff game. Maybe your team's a contending team next year. Because you look around and you look at the pieces that they have with a good quarterback, good running back, good wide receivers, solid defense. You have the start of something. I just think it's an opposite case of what we saw with the Rams.
Fair.
But, guys, like every week, we always want to hear from you guys what you think. Do you think the Titans made the right choice in getting rid of Mike Murlarkey as their head coach, or do you think they should have given him an extension and had him stay 1 or 2 more years? Leave your messages in the comments, and we will see you guys next week on the Highlife Reel.